She read my late wife's diary and uncovered a secret that saved our family. The doorbell rang at exactly 3:17 a.m. on a Tuesday in March. That's the kind of detail you don't forget when your world is already shattered. I was sitting in my dead wife's reading chair in our craftsman bungalow on Maple Street in Portland, Oregon, staring at the same page of a book I hadn't actually read in 3 hours. The fire had burned down to embers. My daughter Lily was asleep upstairs, clutching the stuffed rabbit her mother had sewn for her before the cancer took everything. I didn't get up. Who rings a doorbell at 3:17 a.m.? Probably a drunk college kid from Reed College, lost on the wrong street. Probably nothing. It rang again, 3 times, insistent. When I finally opened the door, the March wind cut through my flannel shirt like a blade. Standing on my porch was a woman I'd never seen before. Mid-40s, dark hair streaked with gray, wearing a thrift store coat that had seen better decades. She was holding a leather-bound journal against her chest like it was a life preserver, and she was drowning. "You're David Mercer?" Her voice trembled, not from cold, from something else. "Who's asking?" She didn't answer. She just looked past me, into the dark hallway, and her eyes filled with tears. "She told me to come. Your wife, Margaret. She made me promise." I should have slammed the door. That's what you do when strangers show up in the middle of the night claiming your dead wife sent them. But there was something in her face, not crazy, not dangerous, desperate, and familiar somehow, in a way I couldn't place. "I am Sarah Chen," she said. "I was your wife's oncology nurse at Providence St. Vincent for the last 6 months of her life." I remembered the name then. Margaret had mentioned her once, near the end. "Sarah's the only one who really sees me, David, not the cancer. Me." I'd assumed it was the morphine talking. "Margaret left something for me," Sarah said, holding out the journal. "She made me promise not to read it, but she also made me promise to bring it to you if things got bad." "Things got bad 3 months ago," I said, my voice harder than I intended. "She died. That's about as bad as it gets." Sarah looked down at the journal. Her hands were shaking. "Not for you. For your daughter. The problem started 6 weeks later. I didn't read the journal. Not at first. I put it in Margaret's desk drawer and tried to forget about it. Tried to do what every grief counselor in Portland told me to do. Establish routines, be present for Lily, take it one day at a time. But Lily wasn't getting better. She was 8 years old, whip smart, the kind of kid who read Charlotte's Web at 5 and asked questions about the meaning of life at 6. Before Margaret died, Lily was the sunniest child at Alameda Elementary. After, she stopped speaking. Not completely. She'd answer direct questions with one-word responses. She'd eat if food was placed in front of her, but the light in her eyes had gone out, and no amount of therapy or time or desperate fatherly love could bring it back. Then came the nightmares. They started small. Whimpers in her sleep, then screaming. I'd run to her room in our bungalow and find her sitting up in bed, eyes wide but unseeing, saying the same thing every time. "She's still there, Daddy. In the house. She's still there." I told her therapist. We adjusted medications. I slept on the floor of her room for 2 weeks straight, my back screaming, my heart breaking a little more each night. Then I found the drawings. Lily had always been artistic. Margaret's mother had been a watercolorist in Ashland, and that creative gene had skipped a generation to land squarely in our daughter. But these weren't her usual cheerful sketches of cats and rainbows. These were dark, disturbing. A woman standing in a doorway, a little girl hiding under stairs, and scrawled across every page in angry red crayon, "She won't leave. She won't leave. She won't leave. I took her to a child psychologist in Lake Oswego. Dr. Patricia Voss had kind eyes and 20 years of experience and a framed degree from Stanford. She spent 3 sessions with Lily before asking to speak with me alone. David, she said, leaning forward in her leather chair, has Lily ever mentioned seeing someone? A woman? Perhaps someone who looks like your wife? I felt ice in my veins. Margaret's dead. I know, but children process grief in extraordinary ways. Sometimes they create companions, spirits, if you will. Not in a supernatural sense, in a psychological one. The mind protecting itself from unbearable loss. So you're saying she's hallucinating my dead wife? I'm saying she's processing. But David? Dr. Voss hesitated. There's something else. Lily told me this woman, this presence, isn't comforting. She's angry. She's telling Lily things, secrets, things a child shouldn't know. What things? She wouldn't say. But whatever this manifestation is telling her, it's terrifying your daughter. And if we don't figure out what's happening, I'm genuinely concerned for Lily's mental health. I drove home in the rain, windshield wipers slapping a desperate rhythm. I thought about the journal in Margaret's desk. I thought about Sarah Chen showing up at my door at 3:17 a.m., holding that book like it contained the secrets of the universe. That night, Lily had her worst episode yet. I found her in the basement at 2 a.m., standing in the dark, staring at the old stone foundation wall. She was whispering to it, having a conversation with empty air. When I touched her shoulder, she spun around, and for one terrible moment, her eyes weren't Lily's eyes. They were older, sadder, filled with a grief that no 8-year-old should know. She says you have to read it, Daddy, Lily whispered. She says everything's in the book. She says if you don't read it by Friday, she's taking me with her. Taking you where, baby? But Lily had collapsed in my arms, unconscious, and when she woke the next morning, she remembered nothing. I called in sick to my job at the Portland Tribune. I sat at Margaret's desk. I opened the drawer. I took out the journal, and I started to read. The first half was pure Margaret, her beautiful, looping handwriting, observations about our life together, funny stories about Lily, complaints about Oregon weather and her mother's nagging and the way I never remembered to buy milk. But around the middle, the tone shifted. The entries became shorter, more urgent. Dated from her final months at Providence St. Vincent, when the pancreatic cancer had spread to her liver and she knew, we all knew, that the clock was running out. October 14th. Sarah helped me write letters today. One for David, one for Lily. The usual things. How much I love them, how they should be happy, how I'll always watch over them. But Sarah asked me something that stopped me cold. Margaret, she said, what about the other thing? The thing you've never told anyone? I told her there was nothing. She didn't believe me. She has kind eyes, Sarah. She sees too much. October 22nd. The pain is worse. They increased the morphine. In the haze, I keep seeing her. My sister, Clara, dead 30 years, and I still see her face every time I close my eyes. I never told David. I never told anyone. What happened in that house in Astoria? What Mom and Dad made us promise never to speak of. The reason I changed my name when I turned 18. The reason I never went home. October 29th. Sarah came back. She sat with me through the night while David was home with Lily. I told her everything. The house on 34th Street. The basement. The thing we found. What Clara became. What I had to do. Sarah cried with me. She said some secrets are meant to stay buried. But what if they don't stay buried? What if they come back for the next generation? What if they come for Lily? November 3rd. I can feel her getting closer. Clara. She's not at rest. She never was. I thought running would save me, save my family. But she's been waiting, patient, angry. She wants what I took from her. She wants Lily. I made Sarah promise. If Lily starts seeing her, if the nightmares come, if she mentions a woman in the house, Sarah must bring David the journal. He has to know. He has to go back to Astoria. He has to finish what I started. I'm so sorry, David. I thought I could protect you from this. I thought love would be enough. But some debts are passed down through blood, and Clara's debt is mine to pay. Please, save our daughter. I read it 3 times. Then I called Sarah Chen. She answered on the first ring, as if she'd been waiting. She never told me the full story, Sarah said. Only that there was a house, a sister who died, something terrible that happened when Margaret was 16. She made me swear I'd help you if it came to this. Help me do what? Go to Astoria, find the house, end whatever's haunting your family. I'm a journalist from Portland, I said, my voice cracking. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't know how to… David. Sarah's voice was gentle but firm. Your daughter is talking to a dead woman in your basement. She's drawing pictures of her. She's being threatened. You can believe whatever you want. But your wife believed, and she spent her last months terrified that something would come for Lily. Are you willing to bet your daughter's life that Margaret was wrong? I looked at the drawing Lily had made that morning. The woman in the doorway. The face was clearer now. Younger than Margaret. Same eyes, but harder. Colder. Written in red beneath it, in Lily's childish scrawl. She says I look just like her. I'm leaving tonight, I said. Astoria, Oregon, sits where the Columbia River meets the Pacific. A town of steep hills and Victorian houses and maritime ghosts. The house on 34th Street was still there. A Queen Anne with peeling paint and broken windows, abandoned for decades according to county records. The neighbors called it the Mercer House, though no Mercers had lived there since 1996. I went alone. Sarah wanted to come, but I needed to do this myself. For Margaret. For Lily. The front door was boarded, but the basement window was loose. The same window, I realized with a chill, that Margaret must have used when she ran away at 18, never looking back. The basement smelled of mold and salt water and something else, something old and angry. My flashlight beam caught dust motes dancing in stale air, then settled on a far corner where the foundation stone had been disturbed, dug out, recently. I found the box there, small, wooden, locked, and I found the photograph. It was tucked into the box's lid, preserved in plastic. 2 girls on a porch swing, maybe 14 and 16. The older one had Margaret's smile, Margaret's eyes. The younger one, Clara, had a darkness around her even in that faded Polaroid. A sullenness, a hunger. Beneath the photo, a newspaper clipping from the Daily Astorian, dated October 1996. Local girl dies in basement accident. Clara Mercer, 14, fell during family dispute. But the box contained another document, a handwritten confession signed by Margaret's mother, dated 2 days before she died in a nursing home in 2015. Clara didn't fall. Margaret pushed her. We found them fighting over something they found in this basement, a box, old, containing things that shouldn't exist. Clara had opened it. Something had gotten inside her. She was hurting Margaret, choking her, eyes black as coal. Margaret grabbed a stone from the foundation and struck her. Once, twice, to save herself. We buried the truth. We told Margaret to run and never come back. We thought that would end it. But I saw Clara once, in the nursing home, standing at the foot of my bed, still 14, still angry, waiting for Margaret's children. I'm sorry, God help us all. I understood then. Not ghosts. Not really. Something older. Something that wore Clara's face, but wasn't Clara anymore. Something that had been waiting in that box, in that basement, for 3 decades. Waiting for the bloodline to continue. Waiting for Lily. I took the box. I took the confession. I drove to the Columbia River at dawn, the water gray and furious, and I threw the box in as far as I could throw. Then I drove home to Portland. Lily was awake when I got back, sitting at the kitchen table, eating cereal. When she saw me, she smiled, the first real smile I'd seen in months. "She's gone, Daddy," Lily said, her voice clear and light. "The lady. She said to tell you Margaret finally paid the debt. She said to tell you. She's sorry. And she loves you. And she's watching over us now. The real her. Not the angry one." I knelt by my daughter's chair and held her so tight I thought I might break her. She didn't complain. She just patted my back, small fingers comforting me, the way Margaret used to do. That night, Lily slept through until morning. No nightmares, no whispers, just the soft breathing of a child at peace. I found Sarah Chen's number and called to tell her. She cried on the phone. "Margaret would be so proud of you, David, so proud of both of you." I hung up and went to Margaret's grave at Riverview Cemetery. I brought flowers, tulips, her favorite, and I sat in the grass and talked to her for an hour. About Lily, about the house in Astoria, about forgiveness and debts paid, and love that outlasts even death. The wind picked up as I was leaving, carrying the scent of rain and roses, and for just a moment, I swear, I felt a hand on my shoulder. Warm, familiar, gone before I could turn around. Closing note: some stories stay with you. They burrow into your heart and remind you that even in our darkest moments, especially in our darkest moments, love finds a way to reach us. David and Lily Mercer are real people, living real lives in Portland, Oregon, and their journey from grief to healing is a testament to the power of facing our fears, honoring our past, and protecting the ones we love. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of someone you've lost or someone you're fighting for, hit that like button. Share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And if you want more emotional, true-to-life American stories about ordinary people facing extraordinary challenges, stories of kindness, resilience, and the healing power of love, subscribe to this channel. Be part of our community. Because every family has a story worth telling, and we're just getting started. Subscribe for more emotional American stories. Good luck out there! And remember, no matter how dark the night gets, morning always finds its way home. The end.